Thank you for joining us today. My name is Ivan Silva. I help manage business development and partnerships here on our team at Virid. Virid is an e-commerce solutions provider that creates and supports fast, compliant, and secure e-commerce websites for some of the greatest brands and retailers in the world. Today, our panel discussion will be about how to weave print and digital marketing tactics together for a seamless experience. All right, to start off, what I want to do is I want to introduce our panelists. We'll start off with Marianne Mochides. She's the CMO at Scanbuy. Marianne, can you tell us a bit more about yourself and your team at Scanbuy?
Sure, absolutely. Thanks, Ivan. So, hi, yes, I am Marianne Mochides from Scanbuy. I manage our consumer engagement business division. We focus on technology solutions and services that promote mobile marketing, consumer engagement, e-commerce, customer acquisition, and much more. We like to say that we power connections between the physical and the digital worlds. So as you can imagine, I'm loving today's webinar topic. So basically, our QR code platform is being used by companies such as Starbucks and Pepsi, UPS, Burger King, HP, Enterprise, Kellogg, I can go on and on. They're all delivering a wide variety of consumer marketing engagements and campaigns to their consumers.
Thank you, Marianne. We also have Allison Jensen. She's the marketing manager from Compu-Mail. Allison, can you share a bit about yourself and your team at Compu-Mail?
Sure. Thanks, Ivan. I'm Allison Jensen, and I'm the marketing manager for Compu-Mail. We're a direct marketing service provider that specializes in personalized direct mail, and we help retailers and other marketers drive growth by seamlessly integrating their mail and digital campaigns.
Awesome. Thanks, Allison. We also have Wendy McHugh she's the marketing manager from Fortel. Wendy, can you tell us a bit about you and your team at Fortel?
Sure, thanks, Ivan. So I wear a lot of hats, and I do help our marketing department. I'm the senior solutions expert, and I've been with Fortel about 8 years now. We are a full-stack omnichannel personalization solution. Our customer engagement platform powers 3 key areas for our merchants. On-site personalization, such as product or content recommendations, personalizing and visualizing the site search experience, are among some of the on-site personalization examples. Clienteling, you may also know this as sales enablement, and then BI for marketing. Ultimately, Fortel's focused on leveraging what we know about your entire business to drive deeper customer engagement, lifetime value, and revenue.
Awesome. Thank you, Wendy. All right, so before we dive into our discussion today, I just want to do a little housekeeping. If you have questions at all, feel free to drop them in the chat. But if you could remain muted, there should be a mute dial at the bottom of your screen there. This is a live recording, so we appreciate you. And again, if you have any questions, put them in the chat, and at the end we'll have a session. But let's start off today and learn a little bit more. And we'll start off with Marianne. Marianne, what's a key advantage of using your business technology?
Thanks for asking. So Scanbuy's QR code technology, it definitely offers many advantages, but most importantly, we open a line of communication between you and your consumer by activating your printed materials. So we enable you to present information to consumers at just the right time and just the right place that's most important to them. Information that definitely couldn't fit on that printed materials, or information that complements your printed materials. So our platform allows you to deliver digital experience that are mobile, personalized, dynamic, and supported by analytics and reporting. So using data to deliver smarter experiences. That means you get to deliver content based on an if-and type algorithm, right? So maybe you care about the consumer's preferred language or location or time of day, or perhaps you really only care about how many times they've scanned the QR code. Data is super powerful, right? So we can work really hard to ensure you get to dynamically deliver experiences, based on that data, based on the data that matters most to your customers. I have a customer actually delivering a digital experience based on the state in which the consumer is in when they're scanning the QR code. So it's printed on the company's materials, it's shipped to these different states, The consumer simply scans, and we dynamically deliver the location-specific content that is linked to that state. Think about that for a minute, right? So it's the same printed material sent to each state with the same QR code, yet very different experiences. It's super creative, and it's a great way to activate that marketing, right? You're bringing your materials to life.
That's awesome, Marianne.
I can say so myself, of course.
It is awesome. Thank you. Yeah, just the idea of localizing this information, it's huge, huge. Looking forward to learning more. Allison, can you tell us more about Compu-Mail?
Sure. So we are an industry leader in direct mail production, and a key advantage of working with us is our deep industry knowledge. This is a result of our close relationship that we have with the United States Postal Service. We have a fleet of fully variable digital presses, a complete letter shop, and a postal substation in-house that allows us to handle everything from the design of a mail piece to the production to even clearing the mail right on site, right within our facility. And this process allows us to make some of the most complex jobs relatively simple, and that results in an overall cost savings for our customers, especially in terms of postage. We find that postage really tends to be a significant portion of a direct mail budget, and that savings can really mean a lot, and it can really add up for a lot of campaigns.
Oh, that's great. The processes and equipment needed to run your operations, it's impressive. Looking forward to learning how it ties in. Thank you, Allison. Wendy, can you share a bit more about you and your team at Fortel?
Sure, thanks, Ivan. The short answer, Fortel increases engagement, conversion, revenue through omnichannel personalization. And we can also have a much larger impact across the entire business, not just the online or the website experience. Our customer engagement platform can take data literally from anywhere. Certainly customer and sales data from your e-commerce site, but think bigger. We want all of the data, such as data from the back-end systems such as the ERP, so we're getting the offline and online data, and even content from your blog. And normalizing data across channels is hard, and it turns out we're really good at it. Fortel's not just collecting and learning from this data, but we're learning from it because of applying our machine learning and AI. And it's really a holistic approach. We can deliver a world-class experience to your online shoppers and at the same time leverage the same information, right, what we know about your entire business to drive other efforts, including marketing campaigns as well as enhancing other systems to power truly personalized one-to-one customer experiences. So Fortel influences the front-end experience in a variety of ways, and it's always with the goal of helping your shoppers find what they're looking for. So we think of it in terms of dynamically merchandising and personalizing to ensure a relevant customer journey with your brand. And I mentioned product and content recommendations in addition to site search. So that's the front-end experience, but at the same time, we can take the same data, not only take it from your back-end system, we can take our learnings and integrate it and feed it back into these same systems, such as your ERP or your BI tools. And the goal here is to power and visualize our knowledge into the existing workflows. And in empowering, we're talking in terms of sales, marketing, and even customer support with really deeper and richer customer and product information. So ultimately, we're really focused on the connected experience to help, of course, acquire new customers, recognize and assist returning customers in the online capacity, certainly, and then nurture long-term relationships. And what I love here is because we understand both the online and offline sides of the business, our Fortel's customer engagement platform can deliver the whom should you be marketing to and suggest products for each for effective and really impactful online and offline marketing campaigns. And hopefully you're picking up on this is really highly synergistic. Fortel's dovetailing into what Allison and Marianne are doing, and ultimately we're all focused on increasing conversion, customer engagement, and lifetime value.
Wow, thanks, Wendy. Yeah, I'm picking up on it for sure. So many tactics that you shared with us just in that piece. I look forward to learning more. So let's move on to a few more questions. My next question is going to be to Marianne. Marianne, what's your experience with omnichannel marketing, and how have you seen it evolve over the years? Hey, Marianne, I think you might be muted. If you can unmute.
Hi.
Hello.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, loud and clear. You're
Sorry.
good. No worries.
So we definitely, Omnichannel has definitely shifted over the years because of consumer shopping behavior and two, advances in mobile technology. It's no secret consumers, right, use their mobile phones more than ever before. I don't see that trend changing anytime in the near future. Consumers shop on their phones. They browse while watching TV. They bank. They research. I can go on and on. With a stat from earlier this year, 81% of Americans now own a smartphone. And I even read earlier this morning, that means it's like 243.8 million smartphones are floating around just in the United States of America. And 3.3 billion people globally are having smartphones. So omnichannel marketing had to evolve. A strong digital strategy needs to get in front of consumers where they spend most of their time. And guess where that is? Yes, on their smartphone. So omnichannel marketing requires delivering a really connected experience at every stage of that consumer's buying journey. But today, that must be much stronger marriage between print and digital channels. Delivering messages that are consistent and across all these channels, where and when the customer chooses to consume content is super critical. I know that's not an easy ask. While this focus hasn't exactly changed, it has evolved to be much more about just delivering a branded message. Consumers want experiences. Romance copy on our printed material is no longer enough. They don't want to be marketed to with traditional advertisements. They're going to read direct mail. They're going to read an email. They're going to flip through magazines and Facebook ads and watch TV, attend sport events. But all of that time is during this buying journey, and consumers want personalization. They want a dialogue with their brands that they choose to buy. They want to be a part of something, and they want to be entertained. Actually, earlier this month, the New York Rangers added our QR code to their printed magnetic game calendar. So they always printed this game calendar. It showed you the home games. It showed you the away games. But this time, they added digital engagement right from the calendar. So they turned this flat printed piece right into a customer acquisition piece. They offered a contest. They serve up a digital link every time someone scans, hey, explore tickets to an upcoming game, all while expanding their customer distribution list. Pretty brilliant. So now instead of hoping the calendar, right, inspires someone to go and visit and buy tickets, they activated the calendar to make that entire process really easy for the consumer to take action right from their mobile phone, which is definitely in their hand or in their back pocket. So their campaign is touching all those channels. At the game, they're talking about the QR code and engaging with them on social media, live on TV on all their home games, they're talking about it. They put it on printed materials, they put it on giveaways, and they're socializing on the traditional web. So all of those places, right, bringing this together has changed how everyone is thinking about that smartphone and how to get in front of that consumer. One other example for me is that a brand leaving that traditional print to digital is on pack with consumer product goods. If you pick up a Hershey or a Nestle or Mondelez and thousands of other brands in your favorite stores, you can see there's a digital link right on that package. These groups are super focused on consumer transparency. They're delivering much more than can fit on that printed package. They're digitally sharing ingredient definitions that would never fit. That teeny tiny print that lists all the ingredients, they can't tell you what it stands for or what the definition is. So now they're doing it through a digital link. You can figure out, some of them are telling you where the food was produced, and of course there are always links to teach your brand. And if I have one more second, the broadcast world is doing a similar evolution. Earlier this year, NBC announced the launch of Shoppable TV. What they did is they added a QR code to their live segments whenever they were selling products. So instead of saying, hey, visit www.domain, now they say, visit this website to purchase our products or scan the QR code that's on the bottom of your screen. Brilliant example of a company, or a group, right, weaving existing technologies into and with newer technologies. And I can go on lots of stories and industries, but
That's
we'll be
awesome.
here till tomorrow.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. No, I'm excited. The couch surfer in me is going to enjoy television much more for sure. I can also relate to the New York Rangers QR codes. I mean, I could see how that could become a standard way of interacting with sports fans. Thank you, Marianne. Allison, what kind of experience can you share about this that we're talking about?
Yeah, so my experience with omnichannel marketing is mainly in using direct mail as the foundation of the omnichannel campaign. So for us, everything is centered around our highly variable and highly personalized direct mail campaigns. We'll often design emails, we can do text messages, we can do other digital campaigns for our customers, but everything is always tied back to the same messaging and the same offers that are on the direct mail piece. And this is a great way to ensure that everything's going to be consistent and clear, and that no matter where they're looking, they're always going to have the same message. And these, having multiple components also allows for multiple different touch points that, first and foremost, keep your message top of mind, but it also allows the recipient to have a variety of ways to respond. So they can choose the method that is, the most convenient for them, the most trustworthy for them, whatever they're the most comfortable using, having your message on a bunch of different channels allows them to be able to, choose that. And we've seen omnichannel marketing evolve over the years because of the increased quality and the traffic that marketers can drive to their websites based on their mailing campaigns. So when you're choosing your audience for direct mail, there's so many ways to filter lists now beyond just standard demographics that it might have been available a few years ago. So now when you're identifying customers and prospects, you can choose the ones that are the most likely to respond. So this in turn naturally kind of filters out the uninterested or irrelevant prospects, and that helps you get the right customers to come to your store or your website and to spend more money when they're there.
Thank you, Allison. I have a quick question. So what was an experience where you combined print within an email campaign, and maybe what are a few tips you could share?
Sure. So we have some customers that run simultaneous campaigns. So they might send a direct mail piece first. Maybe it's some sort of letter. Maybe there's a membership card included in this package. They send that first, and then within a few days of mailing that piece, or within a few days of that piece arriving in the homes, they also have an email campaign going out at the same time that maybe has the same information, tells them where their card is or how to use their card and things like that. And then they can also use that opportunity to send different discounts and kind of communicate with their customers a little bit more regularly. But again, that direct mail really drives the message, and it drives that first communication with the customer, and then the email is just an extra touch point on top of that as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Allison. Real quick, we are open to questions, and there's the chat on the side. Feel free to ask any questions as we're going through this, and once we're done, we're going to answer as many questions as come in also after the call. So we'll move on to the next question, and the next question is for Wendy. Wendy, where do you think the future of omnichannel marketing is headed?
Thanks, Ivan. I believe everyone has a different idea of what it's going to look like in 5, 10 years and beyond. And I really think there's one key word that resonates: data. Merchants must get better at leveraging the data generated really every day, right? There's just tons of data being generated that we really could leverage to engage shoppers. And we firmly believe here at Foretell, what happens offline should influence the online experience, and really vice versa. So those who don't want to embrace the omnichannel data management approach, I really don't think will survive, right? And so everyone's focused on increasing conversion and customer engagement, and lifetime value, right? All these good things that happen when you really deliver a personalized experience. And that can only happen with omnichannel, and it really can't happen without knowing your data. In fact, there was an article in Forbes just this past August talking about the 4 reasons profits remain elusive for online retailers. And if you don't mind, I'm going to quote it. Their bottom line, quote, "For the foreseeable future, it is critical that retailers do more than focus exclusively on growing online sales. The best retailers are focused on digital's overall contribution to customer lifetime value rather than pure e-commerce growth." Right? So this future of omnichannel marketing, it's already happening. and as you've heard from the blending of channels and technologies by vendors such as Scanbuy and Compu-Mail.
Totally agreed, Wendy. Thank you. You know, it's true. I mean, that adding value through time spent, I mean, it's key to developing kind of, you know, any strong relationship. You know, totally agree. Thank you. Next question is for Marianne. Marianne, what do you think we should be leaving behind as we look toward the future?
So, the one word, it's flat marketing pieces. Well, that's 3 words, but marketing pieces that aren't complemented by a digital engagement. So most channels that exist today, they serve a purpose, but they just need to be activated to engage the audience. I could pick on the mailbox for a minute, which has gotten a bad reputation over the years. But seriously, consumers really do love getting mail. A study earlier this year stated that 84% of millennials take the time to look through their mail. They actually look forward to it, and we're not just talking about my kids. You know, 64% would rather scan their mail for useful information rather than email. So when you merge that stat and the known fact, right, I keep bringing it up and more, that all of us are making our purchases more online, we have our smartphone more online, you can see how activating a direct mail campaign with mobile engagement, it is a win-win. Whether it's print catalogs and mailers, they just, you know, their job is to inspire a shopper, right, to visit a website or make a phone call to order something. So with a digital connection, it's frictionless. It connects right to your website. Allison talks about the post office. So they always offer incentives to mobile engaged consumers with direct mail. Beginning a few years back, actually, they do it every year. They do it for the last 6 months of the year. It's the busiest time of year, right? That's where the most of the holiday season hits. So if you add a QR code on the back of your mailer or your catalog that is linked to an e-commerce engagement, they give you a discount. Yes, of course, this is beneficial to the post office, right? You know, the more e-commerce created, the more package they get to deliver. But they do recognize that print mail still works and the important role a mobile device plays in marketing to that consumer. So I could say the same thing about magazines. You know, we have a client that did an ad in several magazines. Some of the placements included a QR code that linked to the consumer. Basically, they were sharing the product launch information. And some of the ads did not have the QR code. So the ad cost them the exact same money. In the end, though, when we went to look back at the campaign to see how it did, we can only prove how many people, right, engaged with that digital link. Because when you go to your e-commerce site, sometimes you can say, oh, where did you find us? But consumers don't love answering those questions. So listen, today's consumers are tech savvy. They have your mailer, your product in one hand, and mobile phone in the other. And if you're marrying it and you're activating your materials for mobile engagement, you're going to win. And if you don't, you're going to miss a tremendous opportunity. These mobile phones, these smartphones, they're in the hand, and they are as important as oxygen these days. And so ensuring that your digital strategy is married well to your print strategy, I don't know that you can actually continue on without addressing it.
I agree, totally agree, Marianne. Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Marianne. Yeah, I mean, the addition of QR codes, I mean, it sounds like a great way to engage, like during Black Friday and like just about any holiday season. You know, marrying everything together is just, it sounds like a win more and more. I can also relate to the oxygen thing. You know, if I take that phone away from my kids, they start to turn a little bit blue. But yeah, let's move on to the next question, and I'm going to ask Allison. Allison, how can retailers and brands develop like a true omni-channel marketing strategy?
Sure. My suggestion is to start by thinking about where your customers are interacting with you, whether that's in your store, on your website, on your social media pages, you know, on their mobile phone that Marianne was talking about. And then think about the different touch points that you can use to reach them. So that could be direct mail, it could be email, it could be social media or display ads, anything like that. And then once you identify what platforms you'll be using, you want to make sure that you're developing a clear message that you're going to use across all of them. So no matter where they go, no matter where they're looking, they're always going to see the same message same branding, and always have a consistent experience. So you really want to make sure that you're giving the same experience online that you're giving in store, and vice versa. It's all about consistency. That's like my favorite word when it comes to omnichannel marketing and developing your strategy for it.
Thank you, Allison. That's right on time. I mean, consistency is a massive, massive factor. Wendy, can you share a few pointers on how to develop this omnichannel strategy?
Sure, thanks. And sort of dovetailing off of Allison, you really have to know your customer. And the good news is shoppers expect you know them. And let's talk about what's not working, right? Showing in our world, from the online perspective, right, showing the same or static product recommendations to every shopper, or showing really simple top-selling items to every shopper. It's not relevant, right? Just because those are your trending items doesn't mean it's relevant to me in my experience. Or, accepting dear, insert name here into email, right? That's just not personalization. Or, well, it's not Foretel's definition of true personalization. So you really have to ensure there's a unified view of the customer, which requires an omnichannel approach to providing a consistent experience, right? Understanding the customers, this isn't rocket science, but understanding the customer is the key to driving all of these other efforts, online or offline. And I think of it as creating the trifecta of a truly consistent, engaging, and relevant experience. The strategy has to be a balance also of new customer acquisition, but also how to cultivate and leverage your best customers, right? Understand them so you can grow more higher lifetime value customers.
Thanks, Wendy. So now we've learned, kind of how to, but I know, when I start something new, whether it was, playing a sport or running, there are certain speed bumps that you run into. So in this next question, let's talk about challenges. What kind of challenges would they meet? So Allison, what do you think will be the biggest challenges to achieving a true omnichannel strategy, and what are some of the mistakes or like mishaps that you've seen?
Yeah, so like I said earlier, consistency is like my favorite word when it comes to omnichannel marketing. And the biggest challenge that I've seen retailers and other marketers face is just not having it. I've seen marketers using direct mail to drive people to a homepage where they might have seen a product that they were interested. I really love this scarf that is on this postcard, and then I go to the website, and then here's a wall of products. None of them are that scarf that I was looking for. You don't want them to have to look for it once they get there. So the approach that you might want to take instead would be, sending them to a specific landing page that has information about those same products and services. So has that scarf, has other accessories that go with that scarf and things like that. Advertises the same offer, again, the same messaging, because otherwise you might lose them. The more work that you make someone do when they're on your website, the more likely they are to bounce, because they don't have that time once they're on your website to look for something that they already know that they want, so they don't want to have to find it again.
Totally agreed. Adding any kind of friction is a no-no. Thank you for sharing, Allison. Wendy, can you share some challenges and mishaps that you've seen along the way?
Sure. How much time do I have?
You're good.
This is a big one, but upper management not embracing omnichannel. Right? It translates both into siloed budgets and siloed data, right? That's a huge hurdle. Or perhaps collecting the data, but you're not using it or not knowing what to do with it. You're drowning in data. And sort of a corollary to that is you then can't act on the data in real time, right? There's all these great things happening, but you just simply can't take advantage of it to really drive an engaging experience. Or it may be a headcount issue. Maybe you don't have enough people with the right deep analytical skills, if you will, required to draw those useful insights from the data. And make no mistake about it, it is a challenge to get a holistic view of your customers and their engagement with your brand. But it is so worth it, so keep fighting for it. Once you have it, then you can continue to develop an even deeper relationship with customers and in a much more meaningful way.
Thank you, Wendy. Marianne, can you share some challenges you've come across?
Sure. So to us, a true omni-channel strategy requires a unified approach across business practices. A little bit of what Wendy was just talking about, it requires that all siloed teams, whether print, digital, packaging, advertising, product sales, creative, web, everybody needs a seat at the table. This is, of course, not only a big challenge, it is nearly impossible. But seriously, to achieve great success, right, teams need to figure out how to share information across all these practices. In order to execute a campaign across these practices, they need to analyze the campaign as well across all these practices. Like Allison's experience, I have a customer that included a QR code on a shelf sticker for each laptop they had on this display. And so each code included a great call to action, scan here for more information, which we always need. Sounds great so far, right? But then they delivered the customer to the home page of their website. Seriously, what a cruel thing to do to your customer, right? They're staring at a laptop they want to buy, and now you're going to ask them to take an action, which they did, and then you're going to force them to go on this search expedition right on your website all by themselves. A search to find information for the laptop they're standing in front of. So not only have we disappointed the shopper will keep that negative brand experience with them, and they'll never scan another one of your codes, even if they want the laptop standing next to it and you wanted to deliver something else. I have a friend also in the fashion industry that was working with a major retailer to launch a clothing line. The clothing was gorgeous. She's amazing. She designed it. They made it, manufactured it. She delivered on time. The hangtails had a great digital call to action. The press release went out to shoppers. But the retailer's web team couldn't get the clothing posted to the e-commerce site in time. Their social media team couldn't align the drop date with their social media postings. 3 teams, all with the primary goal, right, of generating revenue for that retailer, were incapable of aligning product announcement, show floor delivery, web store availability, and social media calendars. Frustrating for the shoppers that tried to buy the product, which that retailer promised would be available, right? Frustrating for the vendor that worked day and night for the retailer to meet all their deadlines. But again, if the teams are talking, they can execute. If they're not talking, they cannot. So we need to get in a place where cross-functional teams are in the room, the customers win, and then the brands win. And that's why that's what our jobs are to do, correct? Generate revenue, generate value, make our customers love us, talk about us, make them super happy. We got a lot of work to do.
I love it. Just the team effort. It rings with me. Thank you. And thank you, panelists. It's been a great learning experience for me, and I know the attendees, to learn more about Omnichannel with you. So what I'd like to do is open up a session of questions to our audience. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to just write them in the chat, and we'll start to answer a few. All right, so far not seeing any come through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start it off with a question that could relate to just about everybody on the call. So we have people on the call from various business tiers. So the question I have would be, in omnichannel strategizing, would you say that there's a different way of handling it depending on the different tier that you're working in? For example, beauty supply versus apparel versus CPG items. Is there a difference?
So I don't think that, this is Marianne talking, I don't know that there's a difference. It's the same consumer that probably is in your store buying your beauty product and eating your, the soup that you make. But it's just about getting the message to them when they're looking for it and where they're at. So we talk omni-channel, right? You're touching all these various pieces. We need to just consistently deliver to them in a variety of places that make the most sense. It's heavy lifting, but it's they're looking for it, and I think that the idea would be to start small. If you're trying to figure out who that is, Allison talked about lots of data around what that consumer looks like, their demographics, Our soup lovers spend a lot of time in sports stores. I'm making that up, of course, but the idea is figuring out what they like, what the message needs to look like, and how are you going to wow them, and how are you going to give them something interesting. Give them recipes. Give them new recipes every week. Give them a reason to keep coming back to you.
Thank you, Marianne. That's awesome. Appreciate it. And thank you also, Allison and Wendy. For the audience, we're going to wrap up and just let you know that this is a recorded session, so we'll be sharing it with you later on. As if you're to listen to it again, you have questions, you have our contact information at the bottom. If it's a certain area of interest, feel free to reach out. Everybody on this panel, including myself, we're passionate about what we do, and we'll help you pretty much any way we can. Again, thank you for joining us today. Have a great rest of the day. Bye.
Thank you.